Hi, welcome back to Flying Ranch Garage. Today we're going to take a look at our new project. Kind of teased it with a couple shorts the other day, and what we have is the 2011 Kawasaki Vulcan 1700 Voyager with a Champion Trikes kit out of Arizona. Now I got this bike really cheap. The reason that I got it so cheap, previous owner hit a deer with it. I took it for a little test ride, did some checking, and it rides really well. It was straight as an arrow, rode really smooth, but it does have body damage. So what we're going to do is tear it apart, assess what kind of damage there is, and go over it to make sure that everything is working the way that it should be and that it is safe to put back on the highway. Now the bike that I had before is also a 2011 Kawasaki Vulcan 1700, but this is the Vaquero variety here. Couple differences between the Voyager and the Vaquero. The Vaquero has side open saddlebags. It does not have lower fairings down here, but it has a fairing around the radiator, giving it kind of a sportier look. It also has some added on pieces here on the bottom of the fender. Kind of makes it look like it's sitting lower. This does have a 2-inch lowering kit on it from Laverne. But the problem I'm having is I'm a short guy. Probably a curse that I got from my mom's side of the family. They were all short people. And even with it lowered, I barely touch the ground. Now it's a 1,000-pound motorcycle when it's loaded down to go on a trip, and with barely being able to touch with the tips of my toes, I'm having a little problems pushing it back and stuff like that. I face it, I'm getting older, and I'm starting to have problems with my right leg. So that is why I've chosen to go with our new project over here. This is also a 2011 Vulcan 1700. But it is the Voyager variety. The difference is on the Voyager is you have these lower fairings here with vents in them to allow airflow to come through. I'm not sure about the radiator fairing. I'm not sure if these were supposed to have a fairing around the radiator and it was damaged in the deer strike, or if they don't come with them. When these are set up in the two-wheel version, they have top open saddlebags, and they also have the tour pack on the back. There's some other subtle differences where there's badging versus decals on the tank. You've got your chrome here. The wheels are polished instead of being blacked out. The indicators, speedometer, tach, and that are red on the Vaquero. On the Voyager, the illumination on them is white. Other than that, they're very similar. It's the same engine, same transmission and everything, and they're virtually the same bike. It's just cosmetic differences. That one is supposed to be the sportier look. This is more of the touring look. So over the first initial inspection on this, it seems that all the damage is done to the front here. There doesn't seem to be any damages except for normal wear and tear to the trike body itself. There's a couple dings here and there, and we're going to take a look at it and go over it and see exactly what we got. But the rear of the bike is in really good shape, which is good because they don't make this kit anymore. If that was damaged, you can't get it anymore. It's done. Let's get the trike moved out to the center of the garage so that we can get all the way around it and get a good look at what we have here. Alright, first look here. We see that the upper fairing is broke. Multiple spots. It's broke down in here. There's actually pieces of it coming apart, and it's broke completely away from the inner fairing. Turn signals The lower fairing here is busted too. Front fender has got a big crease in it. That's going to have to be replaced. And looks like the chrome trim on the headlight is also busted, as well as the headlight itself. Obviously the windshield's gone. This side looks to be okay, but one of the things that I did notice is the gap here is right up against the tank. Doesn't look to be any damage from the tank. You go over to this side and there's a gap here. When you look at it straight on, you can see that that fairing is pushed to the right. So we're going to have to get this fairing off, get it apart, and the skeleton that the frame mount or the fairing mounts to is bent. We're going to have to see if we can straighten that, repair that, or just replace it. I'm thinking for ease of repairs, I think we're going to end up just replacing it. Tank's got some dings and scratches on it. Not too bad a shape. It looked like there was a little bit of a dent right there. It may just be a shadow. I'm not sure. I'll have to clean it up and take a better look at it. That won't be something that I'm going to worry about if it is. The trike kit itself is in really good shape. There was no damage to the trike kit. It does have scratches here and there, and some rock chips. And I did notice down here on the trunk lid, you've got this big piece of paint missing here, and when you open it, it's binding up and kind of pops past that, and when you close it, it does the same. We're going to have to see if we can adjust that lid, give us a little bit more body gap, and then do some touch-up paint there. A lot of this stuff, I think we can buff a lot of it out. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be a rider. It's going to get dirty. I'll ride in the rain. I don't have any problem with that. Now I did notice that there was a little bit of a leak of brake fluid on this caliper right here. We need to check this out and see if it needs new brake hose, or if possibly these crush washers are loose, or what, but we need to check that out. The dash section on the Voyagers are black. They're not body matched. Whereas on the Vaquero, they match body color. They did offer a Vaquero in this color. So that may be something that we look at. May look to replace the inner fairing with one off of a Vaquero so that it's painted to match. Or we might not even worry about it. The seats are in really good shape. I thought that the stitching was getting worn just because of the way that it looks, but I did notice if you wet your finger and kind of work on it, it cleans right up. So I don't know if that is dust or dirt or leftover wax residue or what. I think if we can clean it up with some toothbrushes and some soap and water and then go through and treat these. Get them nice and pliable again, cleaned up. The tour pack is in perfect condition. There's no damage to it whatsoever. And then the trunk is in real good shape as well. This kit does have a smaller trunk on it than a lot of the other kits. And there's the Champion Trikes, the independent suspension. Now, one of the nice things that Kawasaki does is they have basically like all their microfiche online with an exploded view of all the parts on the entire bike. This, for example, is the, what they call it, the cowling. This would be the fairing. And it gives a nice, clear photo of all the different parts, right down to every bolt, washer, and nut for every part on the bike. So if you were looking up a certain part, you would find what number it is on the microfiche and then be able to go through here and find the part number, and it gives you the quantity and everything for that. So that's going to make finding the parts for this bike a lot easier. One of the things I noticed, the stereo did not work. Well, we can see why. Somebody's been in here before doing something. Imagine they probably had a different radio in it or something at one point, so they had this disconnected. This is not sure exactly what's going on here. I'm going to have to go through this and figure out what they've done with the wiring. I will be putting in an aftermarket system as well, but I want to figure out exactly what they have here, because I'm going to go a different route where I'm not going to be cutting into any wiring. So check this out. I've also got the speaker tubes wrapped in Gorilla tape or something, probably trying to insulate it, give it a little bit more bass. The rubber nut certs in the speaker holes were missing, so I'll have to put that on my list of parts to get, as well as some of the bolts for the fairing were missing. You know, they could have broken out during the accident, or they may not have been put back in. I can see here where the bottom of the fairing bolts to the skeleton is damaged here. Get it apart some more. See if we can't figure out exactly what we're looking at. Okay, well, we lost some footage here. Had the wrong setting on the camera. So, we got the whole front end taken apart here. And our pile of parts here on the ground and up here on the table. Quite a bit of parts in here, like the auxiliary lights and the headlight surround and headlight mounting, and that we'll be able to reuse. I'm going to go ahead and pull like these rubber grommets out of this fairing, save them. They can be used in some other spots. Got the lower fairing off. Did find out that the lower fairing comes in a couple parts. So that way you don't have to take off the crash bars in order to take them on and off. This part seems to be good, so that'd be one that we don't have to buy. The crash bars don't seem to be bent from what I can tell. They're straight down there. All the mounting and everything is straight. Don't see any damage to the forks. We're going to check that out more. There is this odd wear on the tire right here. I think that maybe when the accident happened that the fender crinkled and got up against the tire here and chewed that away. We'll be replacing the tire. Now the brakes, front brakes for some reason are leaking quite a bit. You see the calipers wet. I don't know if it's these crush grommets or crush washers or if it's the actual caliper itself, but it is wet all in the wheel from this side. So we're going to have to address that. As far as damage to the forks, the only thing I see is cosmetic here where the fairing came back and hit these chrome pieces, dented them a little bit. We may pull the forks out and replace those. That way we can check the forks too. Bottom mount for the headlight is toast. The frame mounts for the fairing down here, can't really see real well. They don't seem to be bent. So I think where they mount to the frame is going to be okay. I think this frame itself for the fairing is bent back. You can see these lines don't, these bolts don't line up here. I think this is all that's bent. My take is that they probably hit the deer center of the body in the fairing, because there's not any damage down low other than over here. You see that has the speedometer calibration for the trike kit for the different size wheels in the rear end. It makes the speedometer correct. And it did have some work done to the stereo. This is aftermarket wiring going to the speakers here. Like I said, I need to figure out what this is. I don't know exactly what that is or where it goes. It's pretty good size wire. It's going to take a little bit to get the parts together and get them sent here. So we're going to do this video in segments. I can't do it all at once. I'm just working on what budget I have. I don't have anything, any sponsors or anything like that where I'm going to get this stuff shipped to me all at once. I'm going to have to buy a few pieces at a time. I hope in the next couple months to get it all back together. Get this thing back on the road by spring. One of the things that I do want to do is has the Vance & Hines exhaust on it. Usually on these Kawasaki's, you put an exhaust system on them that isn't factory, you have to put a fuel management on it or have the ECM remapped. And there are some places that will remap the ECM for you, and then you don't have to add like the power commander or anything like that. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take off the seat and pull the ECM. Most of the companies, when they remap the ECM, they'll either put a sticker on it or they'll engrave the ECM so that you know that it was done. I'm going to pull that out and take a look at it and see if it's been remapped, and if not, we're going to send that off, get it remapped, and get some more performance out of this thing. Sorry, I called it an ECM before. I guess it's a ECU. But this is what it is. I don't see any stickers on here. I don't see any indication of engraving. So I really question on whether it has been remapped or not. It did have a zip tie holding one of the plugs on. The plug actually has the latch broke off of it, so I'm not sure what's going on there. It's been out before, but I don't know that it has been remapped. Anyhow, I think that's about as far as we're going to go today. Like I said, it's going to be a slow process of getting parts together and working on it a little bit here and there. There's going to be multiple videos on different parts of it that I'm doing. In the meantime, believe it or not, I'm going to be doing some organization in the garage. It's always a mess, and with this thing in here, I have even less room than normal. So I have a couple cabinets coming to store some of this stuff in that I just can't seem to find a home for. So things are going to change a little bit here and there throughout the videos. I'm going to dedicate this series of videos to my dad. This trike is something that he always wanted. He wanted to get one so that we could share it together. He could enjoy it a little, and it would be a project for the both of us. Times that I spent with Dad in the garage, I will always cherish. Those memories I'll always hold on to. Teaching me how to work on things. We would come up with ideas and work on them together. Some of them worked out. Some of them didn't. He was kind of a jack of all trades. And one thing he taught me was, don't be scared to try. It was hard to come back out here and start working on things again, because every time I looked around, I saw him. And I missed him. But I can't think of any better way to keep his memory going. That's my dad right there.
Old man unwrapping.
Everybody should always get one of them. They're not only ornamental, but they're also useful. Always help you put stuff together.